Hey guys, it's me, John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am the anti-hero, and I am here to recap the week, comic book wise, as it were. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to go. It's a pretty good stack, and there's a box underneath. Go through the stuff that I picked up this week in terms of comic books. This does not include New Comic Book Day stuff from my LCS. However, it hold on a second. There we go. Sorry, just lost my stylus, and that's very, very important. If I lose it, I cannot do artwork digitally. So back to back. As you know, I'm a huge comic book fan. I love pretty much everything about comic books. And I get my comics from local comic shops. I purchase comics from a couple of retailers who they don't have brick and mortar stores, but they do a show on the Comic Book Shopping Network, CBSN, on Facebook. If you go to the Comic Book Shopping Network, CBSN, you can ask to join. It's kind of a private group. Each retailer will have videos throughout the week. Some people do videos daily. Just depends on when there's open slots. And they have their own machinations for invoicing and taking payment and things like that. Some do PayPal, some do Venmo, some will do QuickBooks. They'll invoice you. You can pay with a credit card over that way, and they don't save the information. So each time you buy from them, you'll have to re-enter, which makes better for safety and security for yourself, of course. The two people I predominantly buy from, or so far only have purchased from, are from the collector's territory. And that is Tony Corona of Old Pueblo Comics and Eric Frachin of Presidio Comics and Collectibles. They do the show Saturday nights at 8 o'clock Arizona, or 8 o'clock Pacific time. So right now we're starting it at 9 on Saturdays. Last month it was at 8, so it's kind of pushed things back a little bit. So Arizona, we always have to adjust when TV shows change. So we're adjusting because some of these shows are all over the country, and we just have to make those adjustments. They do a great job promoting. They actually even have a Comic Book Shopping Network exclusive book that came out that they promoted, I believe it was last week. And it's just pretty cool the way the network is growing. There's other comic book shopping video channels. I shouldn't say network because that's a specific brand. But there are different places on Facebook where you can watch videos that are similar and purchase books. Not saying any one is any better than the other. I've only worked with a Comic Book Shopping Network and the Collector's Territory specifically, so I can only speak based on that experience. And it has been very, very positive, including some of the books that I got this week. From Bookman's, I picked up Marvel Superheroes number 23. This is when they were doing reprints of a lot of classic stories. However, issues 1 and 2 were the first appearance of Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, and then issue 2 was the first appearance of Carol Danvers, who has now become Captain Marvel. This one has an X-Men extravaganza, the awesome origin of Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Don't know why they advertise them as the Evil Mutants, because in Magneto's eyes, him and the Brotherhood are righteous. So that kind of just brands them right there and makes them look like bad guys. Because every terrorist is somebody else's freedom fighter. Just food for thought. I also picked up the Man-Thing, number 4. It's one of my favorite characters. He's also a little bit off kilter. Very, very cool character, and I love that I was able to pick up some early issues. This is issue 5. Issue 6. 7. That's a great cover. And 8. The artwork in these was done by Mike Plug, who's one of my favorite horror artists. I picked up the Essential Man-Thing, Volume 1 and Volume 2. just the black and white artwork of Mike Ploog's work is just beautiful and brilliant. I also picked this up. I had picked up the Omnibus a few years back and then sold it, and it's one of those things that whenever I think about it, I kind of regret it. So I was really happy to find this. This is Jane's World by Paige Braddock. This is volume 1. It's a series of comic strips done by Paige Braddock. She is a pretty phenomenal cartoonist and storyteller, and it's a slice of life story about Jane, who is a lesbian. She has a roommate who is male. It's kind of all of their misadventures and kind of talks about like her insecurities of just being who she is and, you know, realizing her place in the world and stuff. It's a super, super fun read. If you're curious about books that delve into the LGBTQ community, Jane's World is a really, really good book to start with. It's just a lot of fun. I love slice of life stuff. I love the way there's just a lot of comedy in it, and she's an extremely relatable character as well. And I got to meet Paige Braddock years ago at San Diego Comic-Con, and she drew a picture of Jane in like flannel pajama pants like I'm wearing right now, and like bunny slippers. I also got to sit in on a panel with Paige and a number of other creators in 2014 at Phoenix Comic Con, now Phoenix Fan Fusion. It was about making comic book LGBTQ characters in comics non-fringe. So making them just a regular part and not like a punchline, or not like we're just trying to grab attention. Like, how can we make diversity just a regular part of comic books, which was really important. And I'm super glad that I got to sit in on that panel. I did get this Luke Cage Hero for Hire number 16. It's pretty beat up, but I mean, hey, I think this is the last issue in the Hero for Hire series before it became Power Man. And then on my same venture to Bookman's, I got 1 through 4 of Cage. This was the 90s rebranding of Luke Cage. I remember getting, was it this one or I forget which one it was. I think it was this one I got years and years and years ago in Monterey, California at a comic book store when I was visiting my dad when he lived in Northern California. So it's kind of cool to find. I think they had up to 7 or 8, but I mean, I just wanted to get the first couple of issues. That was earlier this week. Those were all things I got from Bookman's. Today at Fantasy Comics, they had a Gray Saturday parking lot comic book swap meet. And I only bought from one vendor, and they're brand new vendors, new to the Tucson area, and just picked up some really amazing stuff. All these loose books were $1, and just going to go through them super, super quick. Some Marvel superheroes titles with the Incredible Hulk. If you've seen the videos that I've done recently, you'll know that I've been on an Incredible Hulk kick as of late. I mean, these are like, a lot of these are Bronze Age books. You can tell by the price tag associated with them. And then you get more into the late 70s when you get up to like 35 cents. It's probably the mid or late 70s. And then, 50 cents when you're getting into the very late 70s. Got a cool, some triple actions. This is when Marvel was putting out books that had like 3 different stories in them. They were all, it's pretty standard sized comic book too. So it was the same, same size, same page number, but they just put 3 short stories in them. Anniversary issue of Uncanny X-Men 300. It's a John Romita Jr. cover, but it's got the foil enhanced. That was during the 90s and all the lustrous variation days. This is Weapon Plus, Wolverine and Captain America. Just like a pretty phenomenal cover right there. X-23, number 1. I believe this is probably the newest X-23 series, if I remember correctly. Maybe, maybe not. I'll have to look it up. Then this was the cake from this afternoon. Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham collected edition. Let me take a look at this because I wasn't able to pull it out when I was at the event, but let me tell you what this has in it. Okay, this has Marvel Tales with an I, number 1, and Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, 1 through 17. So this has got 18 issues in it. And just like so much, silliness of Peter Porker working at the Daily Beagle. So it was just kind of great. And I fell in love with the character during the Into the Spider-Verse. So let's go over what I got today, or on CBSN, on the Collector's Territory this evening. A lot of times with Tony and Eric, if you buy stuff from them, if you like and comment on a post that Tony puts on earlier in the day, they give you giveaways. And today, if you bought stuff from them and you liked and commented on the post prior to the show, you got Family Guy cards. They were going to do Supergirl stickers from Supergirl, the movie from the 80s, but Tony forgot to bring them with him to the show, so he had those with him, so he decided to do those. So keeping with the Marvel Superheroes, I picked up this. Marvel Superheroes number 46. This is Hulk and Submariner. This is a reprint of the first appearance of the Abomination, who's like a phenomenal Hulk villain as well, who played a huge part in the current Immortal Hulk storyline. Got Superman Up in the Air. This is a book I've been wanting for a while, and every time I find it, the spine is damaged. I'll still buy it sometimes, but the spine is never in great condition. Wolverine number 100 with the hologram. And I mean, you can't see that on the camera. It's just not going to play out. But this one's really, really crispy. It's got a really nice spine on it. Then this I picked up from my grandfather, who served during World War II. And he's told me stories about and I forget the name of the magazine, but it was an army magazine that went out to everybody who was active in the army at the time. And he said Sad Sack was the comic strip that was in that weekly or monthly magazine. And he said all the soldiers would read Sad Sack first before they read any of the articles or anything. So I got this for him. I'm going to visit him later today. So I will give him that copy. I got Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, number 1. This is also Romita artwork on Frank Miller's story. I have the trade paperback, but couldn't pass this up for $1. Pit, 1/2 from Full Bleed Studios. And then Darkwing Duck number 1. This is from the 90s when the cartoon originally came out. And then this was the find for the day. This I got from Eric of Presidio Comics and Collectibles. Thor number 1. This is in continuity, first Jane Foster as Thor. The first appearance of Jane Foster as Thor is in Marvel's original What If line, issue number 10. This is a pretty phenomenal book to find at a really, really good price. When I saw what he was listing it for, I said I had to have it. Picked that up. And then on top of that, now's the thing that Eric is going to be doing for Presidio Comics collector boxes. These are kind of all the rage to safely transport your comics, especially when you're, going to a show and you know you're going to be picking up comic books. You'll take a collector box with you, so you can safely transport books home, carry them around in the show. If you've got a backpack or a shoulder bag, you can put them in there. Or if you're going to get books signed, it's another really, really great thing to do. He says anytime somebody purchases $50 worth of books from him, they will get a collector box. He's also actually tasked me with doing artwork for the future collector's boxes. He wants to do them as a limited run. So keep a lookout on at Harley's Toys and Comics, Presidio Comics, and on the Collector's Territory, Saturday nights at 8 o'clock Pacific time. That would be 9 o'clock here in Arizona. Have a good night and a good weekend, everybody. If I do not do another video before Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving. I think this time of year, things start to get crazy for people, and some of us stress out a lot. I know I do. I'm not a big fan of the holidays. Do something extra to take care of yourself, whether it's taking a walk, preparing a meal that you like, doing some breathing, some exercise, drawing a picture, writing a letter, reaching out to somebody, having a conversation. And that I'm saying because this time of year becomes stressful. But what I'm hoping for people is that they don't just use this part of the year to be thankful. I think there's a lot of us that might take every day for granted. I know sometimes I just go through the day and I don't really notice stuff going on. But I am extremely thankful that I push through every single day. I'm thankful for the people that are surrounding me, not only my friends and family, but my coworkers, the work environment that I have, the job that I have, the fact that I still get to help people means a lot to me, that I'm creating some of the best work of my career as a comic book creator. I'm thankful for my Bubbas, Foley and Grayson, and for my sidekick, Agnew J. Pennyworth. And this is something I need to think about on a constant basis, and I'm doing my best to do so. I'm just thankful to be alive. I'm just very grateful that all the paths that I've taken have led to this. And I feel that a lot of good things are still waiting, and we have to persevere, not because we're strong enough, not because we're smart enough, but because we have to. And that means being tough sometimes when you can't be, but also understanding that sometimes you need to take a step back. And that actually helped me this week because I was struggling with some of the inking on the Bubba Patrol, the third issue. I was having a real hard time with a couple of the pages. There's a lot more humans in this issue than in the other 2 issues total and the Bubba files. And I think that was throwing me off a little bit. Maybe I was using the wrong brushes. Maybe there was just something in the way that I was feeling that was translating to how I was doing the artwork digitally that was just making it come out not to the standard that I wanted. And as much as I don't like to waste a day, I don't want to take a day off, I feel that that makes me lesser. I am learning to understand those limitations and understanding that sometimes if you take a day or two and you don't work out and you don't put that stress on your body and you don't force yourself to get work done, it will just flow. And Thursday night, something clicked. And I started to be able to flow with the lines. And I'm still learning digital artwork. And it's something I'm starting to get more comfortable with. Not mastered it yet, but I'm getting there. And I won't stop until I won't stop. That's just the point. So I hope you guys have a good week. Seriously, though, take care of yourselves. There's a lot of stuff going on out there that can just be really detrimental to us all. And if you take a moment and you think about it for yourself and how maybe we can help other people in that moment, sometimes that can really make a difference. Have a good night.